Hello and welcome back to my garage. In this video I'm going to replace the bearing of the FELICIA I Fun, my girlfriend's car, and I'm really in dubio if I'm going to shoot this video or not. The main reason is the Golf video I did with Robin, the Golf GTI we had, it is the same. So yeah. But then again, I really know that there is at least one guy out there that appreciates that I make a video about the Felicia. So maybe I just keep it on the shelf for a while or publish it. I don't know, but at least I'm going to make it. Next up we need to remove the disc brakes and the brake caliper. I'm not going to show you in this video how to do that because I'm already made a video how to replace your brakes, so I'm going to link it there and watch that video how to remove this whole assembly. Be right back. And we're back. Next thing we want to do is remove the center hub nut of the axle, and this is a 30. And there is a washer behind here, so if we can get that off, would be nice. If not, then it's fine also. The next thing to do is we have to remove this center hub, and the best method is with a slide hammer or with a press. Only if you have a press you have to remove the whole strut, and I find it easier this way and quicker. Just get yourselves one of these things. They're not that expensive, and also if you do 1 or 2 bearings yourself, then you have already the tool back. This can be really quick with a couple of shots and we have it out there, or it can take a while. If you have seen the Golf video, then you know it can take a while. So hopefully we get this off with a couple of hits. It is coming, slowly, but it is coming. And there you go. That's unusual. Most of the time this inner race is coming with the hub. So it's on here most of the time. And then you have to split it and get it off. So if it happens to you, just watch that Golf video, and I show you how to get the race off. It's stuck in here. I do believe this is the first time I ever had this. I cannot remember that the race still attached to the bearing, like so. Oh well, lucky me, at least this time. Next thing, we're going to remove this clip. And most of the time with a good set of needle nose pliers, you can get it off. They just don't grip very well and just try to fly everywhere, so don't get it into your eye. Most of the time what I do is just bend it. And get a screwdriver behind it and just wring it out like that. So let me see if I can get it out. Next thing we want to do is remove the axle, or at least move it out of the way. We will achieve that by unbolting the ball joint at the bottom. So that's what we're going to do now. As you can see here, we have a bolt, and on the other side there is a nut, and this is a 16 or 17. No, it is a 17. Next up, we want to remove the ball joint, and most of the time what I use is a tire iron, or, well, if you have a big breaker bar or something. And most of the time we can just push it out of there, and if not, big piece of iron and then a big hammer, and just whack it out of there. So, and now we can lay the CV joint or the axle to the side. Next up is the bearing puller. And this is also one of the special tools you need to buy or maybe borrow. At the back side, one of these donuts. Just one that fits nice and snug in there. Not too snug, of course. The rod, and then one of these cups on the outside. Then that spacer, and then the bearing itself. Well, the bearing of the tool, of course. And another spacer and the nuts. Now we have to do is just turn this until the bearing comes out. This is definitely not a bearing I replaced before. No, it's definitely not a bearing I replaced. Still odd that it came out as easy as it did. The new bearing has a small little lip, as you can see right here. It's a bit of a chamfer, so we know that we are going to place it in like so. First of all, a little bit of oil in the bore and on the bearing, and then we can just put it right back in. Now we need to find a donut that is almost the same size as the bearing, and this one isn't. Also too small. This could do. This is too big. Well, this has to do. And then the same thing again, only we are going to use the cup on the other side. Like so. Then this thing. If the little ridge fits in the bearing, then you can also use it like so. But most of the time they don't line up. So, but in this case it will be okay. The rest like so. And then we can push it back in. And if it's all the way in, then loosen up the tool and check if you're seeing the groove where the snap ring is sitting. If so, then it's all the way in there. And the groove is all the way visible. So now we can put in the snap ring. There came a new snap ring with a kit. Most of the kits do. Sometimes the cheaper ones don't. Make sure it snaps like it did right now. This is the only part I'm really cautious about. It is not the first time I ruined a bearing. It had happened to me that I didn't use the tool right. So let me show you what I did wrong. Back then I did use the cup on the backside. And what's happening is, you see here, these are two parts. So what happens is when I put in the hub, like so, it is pushing in, it is pushing in, and it is pushing in farther until it came to the second half. And because I used the cup on the other side that didn't support this race, I pushed out the race. So the bearing was useless, it was just ruined. So be sure that you support the race with a cup at the backside like so, or one of these donuts like so. If you don't do that, if there is a gap between there, or use a cup like I did, then you're definitely going to ruin the bearing. So first of all, we're going to find a donut that fits in here nice and snug, and this one is just against the bearing like we want to. Then the rod, the hub, and then of course the rest of the whole kit. Just be sure you line it all up. Double check if I use the right tool at the back, and I did. And now it's just a matter of pushing it all back. Next up, we can push back the axle. Now it's just a matter of pushing back the ball joint. And of course the nut. Next up, the washer. And of course the nut. We're using a new nut. This one also comes with the kit. I'm not going to torque it down completely right now. I'm going to put on the rest first and the tire. Then it's much easier to torque this nut down. So again, if you want to know how to do that, watch that other video. Be right back. The car is back on the ground, and now all we have to do is torque this one to 290 Newton meters. And that is going to be a bit of a heft. And that's it. And there you have it, how to change a wheel bearing on a Skoda Felicia. But of course, the Golf is almost the same. Almost all the FAG from this era is the same. Maybe this is a good video just to show you that if you know one of these cars, then you know for 80 or maybe even 90% the other cars also. I'm really glad that this is at least not the bearing I already replaced. This is indeed a original bearing. Yeah, I don't know what more to say than you already know. You need at least the slide hammer and of course the bearing puller. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it or at least learned something from it. And if you did, give it a like. If you want to follow me around, you know what to do. And I will see you next time. Bye! Next!